Hello, YouTube prepper friends. This is Lee, the Cold War prepper. So I've got a Chris Kyle hat on today in memory of Chris Kyle, and that's because one of Canada's best snipers has volunteered to go fight the Russians in Ukraine. So this is in honor of snipers, fantastic people. Behind me, you see I have my Ground Forces Knights Templar, or Knights Afoot, and flag. So that's to fight off evil, so we can be an army to fight off the evil ones. I was chatting earlier today with Texas Redleg, and there's so much stuff coming downhill right now. It's overwhelming, the amount of evil and bad news that's hitting us. And I said, we just a couple of days ago, somebody said that there were some biological warfare labs in Ukraine that were sponsored by the U.S. And I thought, that sounds so stupid. That can't be true. And then today it was confirmed. There were some biological labs, and they have an interview with the junior senator from Illinois in 2005 who was advocating us funding these. And his name was Barack Obama. And so anyhow, you go back to 2005, see that video that he was advocating that we fund these biological warfare labs, or at least bio labs. And then you start saying, when you take a look at all the stuff that's going on, we've got Jen Psaki with her lies, and then the president, and look at facts. The day that the president took office, took the oath, one of his very first executive orders was to shut down the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline, and cost 20,000 jobs or more, and the price of oil went up. Then he closed down a whole bunch of drilling. Now, there's two phases in the drilling operation. Phase one, you have to have the license and then to operate that oil well. Number two, you have to have permits. So you have to have a permit to build a road to get out there to put your derrick up. You have to have a permit to drill. You have to have a permit for the employees. You have to have all kinds of permits. Well, the licenses are there. Jen Psaki's right, but they are not allowing any of the permits for them to even get a road to go out to the site to explore it. So it's a two-step process. They've done step one. They keep bragging about that, but they're not doing step two, which is what's keeping it from happening. So if you take a look at the price of oil from the minute that the president took his oath of office and signed that executive order until now, what Russia has done is minuscule compared to everything else that he's done to us. So, I take a look at it, and like I was saying with Texas Redleg, our government's lying to us on a regular basis. The bureaucrats, Fauci and several of the others, are lying to us on a regular basis. They think we're stupid. The media is lying to us on a regular basis. There are several of them that are nothing more than media outlets for the Democrat Party. And there's one that may be an outlet for the Republican Party. But the fact of the matter is, they're not giving us news that we can take a look at and say, this is what I believe, this is what it means to me. They're force feeding it on us and giving us their interpretation without the data. And they think we're idiots, and they're treating us that way. So we can't trust the government. We can't trust the bureaucracy. We can't trust the media. We can't trust the censors. And whether that be the quote fact checkers of Snopes or what was the other one? USA Today. We can't trust them anymore. We can't trust social media. I got kicked off of Facebook, and I still don't know why I did, but I violated something. That they disagreed with something I said, and they still won't tell me to this day what it is I did that got me kicked off, but they are censoring me because I spoke. I'm going to assume I said something that they had a problem with. And so we can't even trust the social media platforms. And then there's going to be people who are going to react to the video, and they're going to come out with some what I call Edith Ann facts. And I think I talked about it in one of my previous videos. It used to be at 9 o'clock on Thursday nights. NBC had a fantastic show called Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. And this was popular during the late 60s. And at the very end, they had Lily Tomlin, was a comedian actress, and she sat in a big rocking chair. And she called herself Edith Ann, and she gave us all of her philosophical truths, and this was the height of the Vietnam War. And one of her philosophical truths was, I've never told a lie in my life, but I do know how to create the truth, and that's the truth. Mm-hmm. And so there are going to be those of you out there who are going to create your own truths and spread them on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on wherever, because that's just the way you work. I'll give you an example. One of my favorites. Every time somebody comes to me and religiously says, wars and rumors of wars, I'll say, okay, where does that say that? And 9 times out of 10, they don't know exactly where the verse comes from or what it means. And I say, okay, now, if they can, then I'm going to say this, and believe me, I believe in Scripture. And I believe that there are certain signs that are happening. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because people use things to their own advantage without knowledge. And one of those is, name one single year between 33 AD, supposedly the year that Christ died, and today that there was not a war or a rumor of a war. So if that's the case, if for almost 2020 years we've had wars and rumors of wars, why all of a sudden is it such a significant thing today? It isn't. So if we take something out of context, we can create our own reality, and we can spread that as an Edith Ann, a created truth. Now, if we take a look at a lot of the other things that are biblical concerning what's going on, then then we can have a discussion. I can say, yeah, I'm concerned. I make sure I say my prayers regularly because I am that concerned. But another point here is be careful of what you believe and what you listen to. Ask for sources. Make sure that the person can provide you with information on where they got their information from, or else don't believe it. Do the research yourself. And don't trust anybody. If you say, please give me your source, and they say, look it up yourself, they don't have a source. Don't waste your time. If they had a source, they would say, I'll get back to you on that. I'll provide it to you. I'll provide you the proof. But if they tell you to go look it up yourself, don't believe them. They don't know what they're talking about. So let's take a look at some of the things that are going on. Number one, we are in the middle of a grand solar minimum, which means that the average growing temperature is going to drop about 1 degree or 2 centigrade. Now, that's not much, but it is enough to where it's going to affect overall production. They're estimating somewhere between 1/6 and 1/8 crop loss just because of a protracted growing season. We have floods and famines going on throughout the world right now. South America and Africa are both in drought conditions, and the food situation there is not good. We take a look at the war and what's happening with the war. Three Ukrainian vessels were attacked by the Russians with wheat, and so now that's totally blockaded, so the Ukrainians can't get their wheat out. China's buying up all the wheat. China, as a matter of fact, the stock market, the futures market for wheat was closed early 4 days in a row because it exceeded its up limits in price increase. So they shut the market down because it was going up too fast. If you take a look at the price of wheat, it goes like this, kind of, and then all of a sudden off the scale because prices are just going up because demand is there and supply is not. Russia also provides all of the fertilizer. So that means that without the proper fertilizer, we're going to have a reduced crop this coming spring and summer, fall. Now, where our greatest effects are in corn, wheat, and oats. Of course, with Ukraine, it's also going to be sunflowers. Most of our oil is sunflower seed oil, or rapeseed oil, which for some reason, we had a problem calling it rapeseed, so we call it vegetable oil. But anyhow, food's going to be critically short. Gasoline's going unbelievable, over $4 a gallon average now. I was talking to a trucker friend. He has 2 550-gallon saddle tanks, and it cost him over $1,220 to fill up his tanks to conduct his business. Now, just think about that. As the price of fuel increases, then the cost of producing electricity in the factory, so the cost of manufacturing is going to go up. And if you want to maintain your profit margin, your retail sales price has got to go up. Now you also have to pay increased cost to ship it from one point to another because of the increased cost of fuel. So that's going to almost increase it again by a factor of whatever. And so we're going to see dramatic increases in overall cost of goods sold, regardless of what the cost of what the good is that you want to buy. So inflation is here. Gold hit over $2,000 an ounce. Silver is over $26 an ounce. Those of you who watched my video and got into the gold and silver, you probably already made a profit. So good for you on that. I think that's going to be the way of the future. Read Ray Dalio's book. I'll put a link down below for a 1-hour summary on his book, The Changing World Order. But he talks about the migration from the Dutch and the guilder as being the world currency over to the British and the pound being the world currency, and then the switch in 1945 to the U.S. and the dollar being the world currency. And now it appears that the U.S. is in decline and China's on the ascension, and everything it's following that exact same pattern that we've seen over and over in the past. And the yuan is going to be the new world reserve currency here in the next 10 to 12 years. So a lot of things going on. Here's what I want you to do. Number one, get a 5-gallon gas can, fill up your tank, put some stabil in that 5-gallon gas can, fill it up with gas. Get an extra 5 gallons, just keep it, just in case. If you have any maintenance due on your vehicle, get it taken care of now, because remember, oil and lubricants is part of that oil issue. Your defense items, take care of them, make sure that get your cleaning solvents, your lubricants, your patches, and everything else to maintain those. Remember that a lot of those are also petroleum-based. Make sure you have water and water purification taken care of. Get plenty of cash and metals, precious metals. And you don't have to have it necessarily in gold coin or gold bars or anything like that. You can get jewelry. And that's another way you can store up your wealth, is with jewelry. I wouldn't do precious stones, diamonds, or anything like that, because you got the C's, the color, clarity, and carat weight, and that's so difficult to define. Even I can't do it, and I've been doing it for years, as well as I should. But that's way too speculative. You've got go with what you know: gold and silver. I would say even copper right now. Make sure you get some radiological personal protective equipment and decontamination equipment, portable showers, things like that. Make sure you have what you need to take care of the body, as far as recommended radiological items for ingestion. And I would say just do a search on Amazon. I know that Iostat, who is the #1 maker of the pill, has sold out, and they've been sold out now for almost a week, so you're not going to find any of that. But see if you can't find something that would work in that stead. Get plenty of sealants, heavy plastic, and tape to tape your house off. If, for God forbid, there is a nuclear explosion nearby and there's potential fallout, turn off your air conditioner heater. That's the #1 thing before you do anything else. And then you can start sealing the house. But that's going to be your #1 source of getting radioactive dust inside the house, is through your air conditioner heater. Make sure you have plenty of food, 4 different kinds. You want fresh, frozen, canned, and long-term storage. Each has its own purpose, and we'll talk about that later. I would say get some growing medium, some potting soil, stuff like that. Remember that radioactive fallout is going to settle on top of the soil. You can't use that soil. You don't want to stir it up by planting or anything else. So I'm going to put some new soil on top of it would be your best thing. Get some seeds. And then finally, don't forget sanitation. Get a luggable loo or 2. We have 2, one for liquids, one for solids, and then have a plan on how you're going to dispose of that. So there are several different ways you can dispose of either one, and we'll talk about those at a different time. But that's everything. Sorry that's kind of depressing, but that's just the way life is today. What I can say is find comfort in each other and find comfort in prayer, and we can all make it through this together. So see you on the other side. Take care. This is Lee signing off.